North Tampa Bay Smart Business Series. So Roslyn Yee, she is the founder of Vibrant Life International. She is a certified workplace, wellness, and stress mastery specialist. We all need that in our lives. Her business is only one of two in the state of Florida that is licensed for the SMQ stress assessment, which is considered the gold standard worldwide. Her services include professional coaching, consulting, and workshops that foster the total well-being and vibrant workplace cultures. We're delighted to have her with us here today. I'm excited to hear from her. So Roslyn, without further ado, I'll let you take it over.
So good morning. Good morning. Well, raise your hand if any of you would like to do a better job at managing stress. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, because I'm not going to teach you about stress management today at all. Now, Hope is over there going, what? Now, before you all want to get up and walk out, what I am going to teach you about today is how to master stress. Now, how many of you would like to learn how to master stress as opposed to just managing it? Well, great. Well, you've come to the right place. Well, I want to thank you all for coming out this morning. You know, time is our most precious resource, and you could have all chosen to be somewhere else this morning, but you chose to come out today and learn together on this topic. So kudos to you. Give yourselves a round of applause. I'd like to also acknowledge Hope and the North Tampa Chamber for hosting this live series event, this brand new series. I'd also like to thank Mira and his crew and this amazing venue we have here to be here together today. And I know they were here early setting everything up, so give them a round of applause too. Well, great. There is so much that I could share with you on this topic. And in terms of mastering stress, we all have stress in our lives. It's inevitable. But the only thing that we do have control over is ourselves. We can't control stress. Life, like stress, we can't control it. The only thing we can control is ourselves, our thoughts, our actions, and our reactions to it. That's all that we have. So during our time together, I'm going to share with you a framework for mastering stress so that you can banish burnout, increase productivity, and that will increase your business's bottom line. So before we get started today, I want to share with you a little bit about how I came to speak to you about this topic, a little bit about my background. I'm a native New Yorker. I used to work in the media industry where I managed television productions, video productions for companies and businesses all around New York City, even domestically and internationally. And I worked very long and odd hours, which was typical for that industry. And I was stressed out all the time. I always felt like I was stretched to the max. Where I was working at the time had gone through a lot of layoffs, and so I was doing a lot of work that other people in other departments had been let go, and my plate got filled up with even more work than my own. So I was just stressed all the time. And believe me, on the outside, I always tried to make it look like I had it all together, but on the inside, I was a total hot mess. I literally used to keep Pepto-Bismol in my desk and in my purse all the time. I had a nervous stomach. My stomach always felt like it was in knots. And I would chug it right from the bottle. Forget about the teaspoon or any of that. I would just chug it. I'd come home from work. People want to have a glass of wine after work and unwind and relax. I'd have my Pepto-Bismol. It wasn't fun. I always had also chronic headaches. All the time, I was always in pain. And I remember one day saying, something has to change. And I decided to go see a naturopathic doctor at that time. And it was found that I had suffered from severe adrenal fatigue. Now, your adrenal glands are the glands in your body that regulate your stress hormone. And basically, he said, your adrenal glands are shot. And it was through the help of this naturopathic doctor that I began to alter my diet And I found that with his help, that once I altered my diet, my chronic headaches went away, and also my nervous stomach. I felt like a new person. I got back so much more energy, and I was able to be a lot more productive at work, and it just totally changed my life. And since that time, I registered to become a holistic health counselor. I graduated from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition in New York and became a certified health coach. I also became a certified stress mastery specialist through an association with Stress Master International, and I'm also a certified workplace wellness ambassador. And I'm very passionate about helping people live healthy, more stress-resilient lifestyles because of where I came from. And specifically, I would like to learn to teach people about mastering stress because it's such a problem in all of our lives, but it doesn't have to be. One of my favorite definitions of stress is one by Lauren Miller, and she's a stress expert and written several books on the topic. And her definition of stress is the power we give to outside circumstance to define our worth, value, and capability. So what does that mean? Whatever stressor is triggering you, whatever is going on out here, whatever the situation or the circumstance is, stress occurs when you give your power away to it and allow it to define you. And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to let stress define you. You can master it. Why? Because you have the power to master yourself. That's the only thing you can control. William James, an American philosopher, said, "The greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another." One of my teachers told me this story about a Buddhist meditation instructor that came from abroad to New York to teach some of his students. And when he arrived here, the first day that he came, he was pickpocketed. Someone stole his wallet, his money, everything he had, his ID. And you can imagine how stressful that must have been for him. And when he was telling my teacher what had happened to him, he said, "I wasn't angry at all." He said, "I looked at it as a way for me to offer this man what I had instead of feeling like he robbed me." And I was like, wow. Now, you may not all agree with his reaction, but it's just an example of how someone can choose how they are going to think and react to something very stressful that happened to them. And we all have that ability to make a different choice. Now, a more simple and less dramatic example would be, we've probably all been to a salad bar or a buffet or someplace where you're having a meal and all the food is laid out and you have all these different choices of what you're going to eat. Now, imagine your life as that plate, right? You get to pick what you are going to put on that plate. You only make the choices at that buffet of the things that you like and the things that you enjoy. Nobody is going to put on their plate, "Oh, I think I'm going to have a big heaping scoop of stress," or "I think I'm going to have a double scoop of anxiety," or "Dish me up a big bowl of worry soup." And nobody's going to do that. You only pick and choose from that buffet what you want, right? So we all have the power of choice of what we are going to feed ourselves in life. So when it comes to what we feed ourselves mentally and physically, we can choose what that is. Also, when it comes to feeding our physical bodies, there are foods that can help us manage stress better. And some of those foods are foods particularly that are rich in magnesium, because magnesium has calming properties and it relaxes your muscles. So some magnesium-rich foods are things like bananas, avocados, almonds, spinach. Chamomile tea is also, it's a nervine herb. So a lot of people drink it at night. It helps relieve stress, it soothes the nerves, and it has very calming properties on the body. Turkey. Everybody knows at Thanksgiving how you feel tired often after eating turkey. That's because it has an amino acid in it, L-tryptophan, which has a very calming and relaxing effect on the body. So also just fruits and vegetables. A study in the British Journal of Health and Psychology found that the more that people ate fruits and vegetables, the more creative and happier they were. So these are just some things that you can do to empower your physical body when it comes to stress. Now, when we choose what we will feed ourselves, the actions we will take to become more stress resilient, and we recognize our power of choice, how does that relate to burnout? Well, job burnout is a very special type of stress. It is a state of physical and emotional and mental exhaustion combined with doubts about your competence and value about your work. If burnout goes unchecked, it can lead to severe health problems, and even in extreme cases, people can even take their own lives. Here in the US, stress is costing US businesses approximately $300 billion a year in lost productivity, absenteeism, accidents, employee turnover, and medical costs. 75 to 90% of all doctor visits are stress-related. OSHA, the Occupational Health and Safety Association, declares stress to be a hazard in the workplace. 77% of people regularly suffer from physical symptoms caused by stress. And often stress, one thing about our bodies is that our minds don't recognize, our bodies don't recognize whether something is real or imagined. How often do we stress out about things that haven't even happened yet? Or we're worried about what's going to happen, and our bodies start reacting to it. Our heartbeats increase. We may get sweaty palms. Our stomachs start to get nervous, and we get that butterfly nervous stomach feeling. And these things haven't even happened yet. But our bodies don't know it, because if our mind is projecting out and becoming worried or anxious about something, our body's going to react. And if our bodies are in that constant state of stress, it is going to cause a negative reaction. So it's up to us to control our responses to things, whether they are real or imagined, because our bodies don't know the difference. And it's up to us to empower ourselves to take care of our bodies. So one of the biggest things that contributes to feeling stressed is a lack of control. And that could be a lack of control over anything. It could be a lack of control of feeling that you don't have enough support, or your schedule, or what people say, or what people think. But the first thing to do is to acknowledge what you are in control of and what you're not in control of in your life. So here's something very simple that we can all do. Take a piece of paper when you have a moment. Put a line down the middle. On the left, write things I can control. And on the right, things I can't control. This list can go on and on, but here are just a few. On the left, things I can control: my attitude, my thoughts, my actions, my job choice, my performance at work, my own self-awareness, how I master stress, staying calm, living a healthy lifestyle, how I spend my money, how I handle myself, relationships I engage in, and my own optimism. Now on the right, things I can't control: what people say, do, think, and feel, my boss and his or her attitude, What happens around me? Past choices already made. How many of us stress out over things that happened in the past? It happened, but we still replay it over and over and over and cause ourselves unnecessary stress because of it. Can't control stress in general. You can't. It goes back to our initial point. Stress is something you cannot control. The only thing you can control is yourself and your reaction to it. Can't control traffic. You know that commercial where there's two people in traffic and one person is getting all frustrated and the other person is just jamming out with their headphones? It's how two people can react to the same stressor. Growing old. How much things cost. Life in general. We never know what's going to happen from one moment to the next. What my partner thinks, says, or feels. And other people's negativity. So this list could go on and on and on and on. But try it sometime. Make a list. Build your own self-awareness around the things that you can control and recognize the things that you can't. And there's no sense in worrying or stressing about the things on the right side of the page. Focus on everything on the left side of the page. That is the only thing that you can control. Don't waste your physical, mental, or emotional energy on things you can't control. Remember, stress is the power we give to outside circumstance to determine our worth and our value and our capability. So when it comes to determining your worth, believing in yourself enough to make the right choices is what's most empowering. And that means taking time out for you. Now, that might sound selfish, but the fact of the matter is the less stressed and happier you are in general, you're more able to give to other people. You're more able to do better in your job. You're more able to be more productive. You're more able to run your business the way that you want. It took me a long time to realize that in my own life because I was always thinking, I'm too busy to take time for myself. I'm too busy to do my own self-care. And we're always going and going and going and going in this 24/7, always on society that we live in. Like we're the Energizer bunnies and that's somehow honorable. You know, when people say, oh, how are you doing? Oh, I'm so busy. And we wear that as if it's a badge of honor, right? But we have to make self-care a priority because that will boost your productivity. There was a saying that said, everyone should sit and meditate for 20 minutes a day. Unless you're really busy, then you should meditate for an hour. It sounds counterintuitive, right? But the more busier you are, the more you need to practice self-care. Even more. Double it. And you will find that the more you're able to take care of yourself and build up your reserves, you're becoming more stress resilient so that you can handle stressors more effectively when they occur. Try eating a meal without your digital device on. Just try it. Our digital devices cannot control us. They can't turn themselves on or off. We're in control of our digital devices. Try taking breaks from your smartphone and your tablet and see how much more calm and more productive you'll be. Giving focus to our work is very important and in anything. Multitasking is something that we often do, and it is found to be counterproductive. It actually has the opposite effect. A 2017 Forbes magazine article states that showing multitasking can actually reduce productivity by as much as 40%. Another study showed that multitasking can actually reduce the brain's gray matter that is related to cognitive control and monitoring your motivation and emotion. I was a genius when it came to multitasking. I could do like 10 things at a time. And I'm sure all of you always are multitasking in some way, shape, or form or another. And we think that we're going to get more done. We think that we don't have enough time, so I'm going to do 2 and 3, 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, 8, 9 things, 10 at a time. And it's actually counterproductive. You will become more tired, you will make more mistakes, and you'll drain yourself. So practice the art of focus. There was a man named Francisco Cirillo. He was an Italian. And he developed a technique called the Pomodoro technique. Maybe some of you may have heard of it or not. Pomodoro is Italian for the word tomato. And that's just happened to be what he named it. And basically, this is a way to manage your time in focused blocks. So what he says is work undisturbed in blocks of time for increased productivity. So he suggests block your work in times of 25 minutes each. He called them each a Pomodoro, separated by 5 minutes of break. So basically, there are timers for this that you can set on your computer. You can even just use a basic kitchen timer and set it for 25 minutes and work focused, undisturbed was what I meant to say. Work undisturbed and focused for 25 minutes. No checking email, no checking Facebook, no checking Twitter. You know how they have in hotels do not disturb signs? That's what we all need to incorporate more in our lives, is the do not disturb sign. And work undisturbed and focused. And if we can practice doing that for blocks of time, you will get better at it, and it will become a normal practice. After you work that block of 25 minutes undisturbed, take a 5-minute break. Try it. When I tried this, I could not believe how much more productive I could be in my work because I was focused and not letting anything else disturb me. You can also alter the blocks if 25 minutes is too short, but the fact of the matter is just try to work undisturbed and focused on what you're doing for a certain block of time. And after you're done with that block of time, take a short break. The breaks keep your brain fresh and increases your productivity. Justin Menkes, he's the author of a book called Better Under Pressure. And he states aspiring leaders need to gain experience in stressful situations where they can get elevated but not overwhelmed so that they are set up for success. Confidence under pressure can be built like a railroad track in the brain through exposure to repeated experiences over time. We can gain experience in stressful situations and gain confidence by practicing situations in a comfortable setting. So say, for example, if speaking in front of a group is stressful for you, practice at home in front of friends or family. If you're going through a certain situation at work or in your business, try to brainstorm solutions to problems with colleagues so that you're better prepared for them when they occur. Rather than viewing pressure as a threat, begin to see it even as a challenge that can bring you opportunities to excel. Menkes also states, while it is a noisemaker in the untrained mind, when channeled properly, adrenaline can help people accomplish things that they never would have imagined possible. The ability to make adrenaline a friend is a necessary for executives in today's environment of ongoing duress. Not surprisingly, it is also a hallmark of the world's best CEOs. Now, I may not know what your individual titles are. Some of you might be CEOs, or you might be a solopreneur where you are your business. You may be a manager or hold a staff position. Regardless of whatever position you hold, you are the CEO of your life. We're all CEOs. And so when you think of a CEO, you think they have a lot of power, right? Because they're the ones ultimately in control of making the decisions for the company. Well, you have that same power over your own life. So the choices that you make as a CEO, obviously you know, affect everything. And the decisions that a CEO makes definitely affects the bottom line of the company. There's a lot more awareness now about how wellness programs can have many benefits, not only for yourself, but your employees within your companies and businesses. According to the World Economic Forum, the benefits of promoting wellness at work, some include organizations are seen by employees as 2.5 times more likely to be a best performer. Organizations are seen as 3 times more likely to be productive. Employees are 8 times more likely to be engaged. Organizations are seen as 3.5 times more likely to encourage creativity and innovation. Organizations are seen as 4 times less likely to lose talent within the next year. So it can only make sense that when health and wellness are promoted in the workplace, that people are going to be more productive and have better performance, which can impact definitely your company's bottom line. In addition, employee turnover costs are a factor. Some studies show that every time a business has to replace a salaried employee, it costs 6 to 9 months on average. So for example, if a manager is making $40,000 a year, that would be $20,000 to $30,000 in recruiting and training costs to replace that employee. That's money. So making sure a business is profitable is certainly at the top of the list for any CEO. Regardless of our titles and positions, remember we're all CEOs. And there are 5 core responsibilities of CEOs. A CEO sets the visionary direction. The visionary direction of the company must be clearly defined, and so that everyone in the organization can support that vision. And it also affects how a person does their job, if they know what the vision is. A CEO also provides the right resources. A CEO has to balance capital and people. They must have to allocate where necessary. And a CEO also must put the right people in the right places to create a winning team. A CEO also creates the culture. What is the culture of the business? They have to observe and actively engage in all of the people within it so that the people that work for the business feel safe and respected, and so that the best can be brought out in them. A CEO also makes good decisions, we hope. So there are numerous decisions that we all have to make every day. But in terms of a CEO, they have to make good decisions based on the benefit of the company, for the well-being of the company. And a CEO also has to oversee and deliver on the company's performance. If the company is performing badly, the CEO has to take the heat for that, ultimately. So when it comes to our topic of mastering stress, we're all CEOs, right? So how can we apply these core responsibilities of a CEO to our own lives. We can ask ourselves, are the choices we're making around mastering stress in support of our vision? If you have a vision for your life, for your business, for anything, are the choices that you're making in support of that vision? What are the resources that we are seeking out in order to support that vision? Right? If there's certain resources, if there's certain help, if there's certain things that we need, are we seeking out the resources that we need for that? What is the culture that we're creating in our lives and in our business? Do our thoughts, actions, and reactions to stressors, are they in line with our values? Are we making the types of decisions about what's going to empower us and even our employees? Are we making good decisions around that? And how are we delivering and measuring our own performance and making improvements to change for the better when it comes to mastering stress? So measuring performance and making adjustments in our lives or in our businesses requires awareness. It requires assessment of the situation. And we can only change what we are aware of. That's the first step to change, is becoming aware. We cannot change what we are not aware of. So stress is evident in different areas of our lives. And what might stress you out might not stress me out. So we all need to assess where the stress is in our own lives. A simple exercise is just to rate yourselves on the different areas of stress in your life, whether it's work, family, relationships, financial. Take a moment, rate yourselves on a scale of 1 to 10. Am I doing well in this area? Could I be doing better? Am I really stressed out in this area? Take a moment to assess and become aware, and then you can take steps to know how you need to master stress better in those certain areas. When it comes to implementing change, it's good to keep a log. Keep a stress log. Notice when something really triggered you. Write it down. Write down, how did you react to it? How would have liked to react to it differently? So keep track of those things and review it often. And this way you're building awareness so that you can take steps towards change. There are professional assessments that people can take to show where they are at highest risk of stress. The SMQ stress assessment was developed by Dr. James Peterson. He's a stress psychologist. He's a psychologist and stress expert, author, and clinician with over 30 years of experience. The SMQ has been used by over 600,000 people in companies, organizations, and health clinics in 17 different countries around the world, and it's considered the gold standard in the industry. The assessment delivers scores on 11 stress warning sign scales, and they include hostility, anger, perfectionism, time urgency, disappointment, burnout, underachievement, physical stress effects, life work, tension, life events, and hassles. It's not a very long assessment. It can be taken in about 15 minutes based on about 81 different questions. But it's very accurate, and it will give you an opportunity to see exactly where you rate in those areas so that you can build that awareness that you need. So let's just recap. We have 10 top takeaways. Stress is the power we give to outside circumstance to define our wealth, our worth, value, and capability. The greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. Self-mastery is the foundation to mastering stress. Focus only on the things you can control and accept the things you can't and let go of them. Make self-care a priority and take your breaks. Use stress-fighting nutrition. Avoid multitasking. Try working in focused, undisturbed blocks of time with short breaks after each block worked. Practice different scenarios where you can build confidence and remain calm under pressure. Keep a log of your stressors and reactions and build awareness to measure your performance and make changes as necessary. We are all the CEOs of our own lives. Apply the responsibilities of a CEO to your own life so that you can make it the best it can be. In closing, if there's one thing I would love for you to take away from our time together is that no matter what is going on around you, no matter what is going on out here, the one thing that you have control over is right here. It's inside of you, yourself. Your thoughts, your actions, and reactions to stressors. And no matter what is going on around you, nobody can take that power away from you. You can make the kind of choices that you want to make to empower yourself and better master stress. And when you do that and implement that within your lives and within your businesses, no matter what your position is, that can have a definite positive impact on your business's bottom line. So in attendance for everyone coming today, I do have a booklet also, which will be in the back. It's a booklet that I've written. It's 104 simple stress mastery tips. I hope that you will take this and implement any of them in your life. They're there to help you. There's reminders for you to implement ways that you can better master stress in your life. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll take some questions if you guys have any, and if you don't, I do. I have one. So the multitasking, so is that like no multitasking? I mean, because like the 10 things, I can go down from that, but.
Yes,
Like,
yes. The thing is that if you have to do more than one thing at a time, that's okay. But try to avoid it wherever possible. Try to, if you multitask all the time, try to multitask less of the time, okay? It's about being more focused on what you're doing. Our brains were wired to do one thing at a time. We've made them do multiple things at a time, and it actually has a negative effect. So if you're multitasking 25% of the time, or 50% of the time, 75% of the time, try to bring it down. Try to bring it down and see how you feel about that. See how that works for you. Try working in undisturbed blocks of time or focusing on one thing at a time and do it less. If you're a big multitasker, and believe me, I'm big time multitasker, and it's taken me practice to not multitask. And I've found that when I don't, I feel so much better.
So my name is Mira Beck, the owner of Overnight Success Studios. And one thing I got out of Roslyn's presentation today is the super awesome idea about meditating. She said 20 minutes for regular people and 1 hour for super busy people. So I'll take the hour. And I'm going to start today. It's pretty awesome.
Good morning. My name is David Hernandez. I'm with Morrow Insurance Group. And the biggest takeaway I had today from Roslyn's presentation was not to multitask too much and to have 25-minute blocks of time, isolated, undisrupted. I think that's going to be definitely a focus of mine.
My name is Alice Harper, and I'm a part owner of Sylvan Learning Center. And I think my biggest takeaway was also the blocks of time. separating that like 25 minutes or 15 minutes and taking a break afterwards. I really appreciated that.
I'm Susie Martinez McMullen, and I'm from Roe Twyman Law Firm. And my biggest takeaway, actually I had two of them, and it was the multitasking and the nutritional part, which I'm so happy I get to eat more avocados.
I'm Alejandro Stenger. I am a partner with my wife on the Southern Center of Wesley Chapel. And something I loved is we see it all the time and we don't realize it, but we don't have control over stress, but we have control on ourselves. And I think that's the first thing I'm going to do, is start controlling myself towards the stress. Thank you.
Well, we couldn't have done this today without a sponsor, and it's very appropriate that our very first sponsor be Mira Beck with this beautiful facility here. So I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about the facility, and he's our sponsor. And as we go through our through the year, we will have sponsorship opportunities for our members as well. So without further ado, Mira.
Thank you. I didn't know that this sponsorship came with speaking slot, so I got 17 more minutes left. No, thank you for coming to the first series. Roslyn, thank you so much for being our first speaker, because this was really awesome. I was sitting in the audience. Actually, we're just gonna edit it differently than I thought initially, which will be even better, but that gave me the opportunity to actually sit down and watch it, and I'm excited for the next one. It's gonna be super awesome. So as far as our facility, you probably already have seen it, but we basically have two different facets of our company. There is audio-visual facet, where we produce live events for clients on site, and that's Beck Audio-Visual Services. And then this awesome studio, Overnight Success Studio, has been basically my dream to put together a facility where I can just flip a switch and be ready to go, instead of packing everything, traveling all over the country and doing all that. So 5 years in making, this finally came reality, and I'm really excited about it. So what we focus on here is helping businesses to basically incorporate video in your marketing. And whether that is brief videos about your business, about us page, instructional pieces to educate your clients, FAQs to just kind of give yourself more time. Speaking of, now productivity and stress and stuff, you can use video to replace yourself or your employees. Let's just use an example, financial advisor. I don't know if you've all sat down with a financial advisor giving you their 45-minute story about the two brothers, how one started saving, the other one didn't, and all this stuff. It's awesome, but they have to go through it all the time, over and over and over. And we had one that came here, we recorded a 45-minute speech and put in some slides, and now they can have people watch it before they meet with them, and then just answer the questions that were brought out by the presentation. So now, instead of 10, 20 people, they can see double or triple the amount of people. Same with doctors, same thing, the same spiel. We had a client with cardio doctor. Same, there was like 30-minute presentation, and he has to do it over and over and over. So they just recorded it, and now he can see several more patients. So in your case, think about how you can utilize video in your marketing to put it on autopilot, so you can make more money, obviously. If you know the value of your customer, you can see, if you can see more than what you're seeing now, if you can, let's say, just see one more per week, or get one more customer per week, multiplied by your customer value, and then put the value on the video. And most people are afraid making videos because they don't feel comfortable. That's always like, oh, I'm so afraid in front of a camera. Well, I'm too, but whatever. So it's if you get past that point, video is a really amazing tool, and in this day and age, everybody should be using it.